witches. So, the Cauldron. I've got some little notes out. Got several uses. Some of them, hopefully, are new to you and not something you've already heard. Don't want it to be boring, but I came up with 13 witches dozen, 13 uses of the Cauldron. So this will be Witchy Tool video number 2, the Cauldron. I did the Athame already. So this is divine feminine energy. This is representing the womb. You've got your other tools, you know, even candles, your Athame, your wand. Those are all masculine tools. They're shaped phallic, you know, the phallic shape. You know what that is, right? But this is shaped like the womb. It's for receiving. It's for birth. It's for formation. So when you're using a cauldron, you're creating, you're giving life to something within this cauldron. It's not just something to burn a piece of paper or burn a picture of your ex, or, you know, it's not, you certainly can use it for that, but it's not all that you can use it for. So first, real quick, I feel like I would be doing you a disservice if I didn't hit on at least a couple of things about cauldron care. When you get it, you need to season it. I'll link a video below where you can see how to season it correctly right when you get it. Use lard. I think the video says, the video that I chose because she was really thorough, and I think she says use olive oil, but lard is best. Crisco, or the cheap version. Whatever, just that, the white, thick white fat, which is basically like dried or cooled down oil anyway, but it's thicker. You want to rub it down with that and then do what the video says. You're gonna put it in the oven and do some things, but anyway, you want to make sure you do that, because if you do that and you take care of it and you season it about twice a year, about every 6 months, they'll last you forever, unless one of the little legs breaks off or something, you know, but they should be, you know, on there where this is not gonna, you know. All right, so you can see inside my cauldron is a little dirty. I did a spell with it last night and I have not cleansed it. When you are going between workings, you want to cleanse it, both clean it and then cleanse it. There are conflicts. Some people say it's okay to use soap and water. Some people say don't, definitely don't. They say just use salt water and maybe a little bit of vinegar. I'll leave that up to you. I use a little bit of soap in mine, dish soap. I just wash it like a dish, and then I will dry it really, really well, and then I'll rub it with an oil, just, you know, to kind of keep it. I don't re-season it every time, but I will rub it down with just olive oil inside just to keep that layer, because I do this, I use this for water spells. I make moon water with it and some other things that I'm going to tell you about. But I make my drinking moon water in that big giant vessel that I showed you. I actually have 3 of them. One for full moon, one for dark moon, and I have one for waxing moon magic. And then the waning moon magic, I usually do just a mason jar because I usually don't need that much of that, but I like to drink the rest. Anyway, I'm talking about moon water now. So, the divine feminine energy. How can you give birth to something in a cauldron? What can you do? So, we'll first talk about what most people use them for, right? You take a charcoal disc, light it up. I don't know where my tongs are. I used them last night. I think they might be downstairs. But light it up until it gets red hot, and they'll turn gray, and then put it down in there. and then burn whatever you want to burn, whether it's if you want to sprinkle resins or herbs or whatever, you can do that. That's what most people use it for. But there's so many other uses for the cauldron. You can also burn, like I said earlier, photos. You could write down something you want to banish and mix it with some banishing herbs like black pepper, cloves, basil, thyme. When you're doing that, make sure that you take the burnt item with the banishing herb and kind of rub it together in the palm of your hand, the ashes. Once you burn it in the cauldron, put the ashes in the palm of your hand and kind of rub it in with the banishing herb. Mix it in, and if you burnt it all together, that's fine, but still touch it afterward. Put it in your hand and then blow it away from you off your property if you want to banish something. You can also use Vesta powder to help make the flame, you know, stronger if you're having trouble burning something. It's also fun to watch. I would get mine out, but I don't want to stink up the house right now because it's getting close to bedtime. But I will do a cauldron spell with that. I've actually done one before, but it did not work as well as I wanted it to. It was not, it didn't go poof like it's supposed to, but that's okay. Anyway, people also use these for candles. Try not to use salt as a base. Use sand, soil, or red brick dust. Fill it up about halfway, and then you can stick a chime candle in there, maybe even a 4-inch ritual candle, and use that to and burn it in there. A lot of people like to line it with foil, with aluminum foil, because the wax, you know, wax is just a bitch to get off of anything. Yes, you can do that. So that's number one, burning stuff. Okay, burning stuff, whatever you want to burn. And it's usually to banish something. But also, when you set something on fire, it does speed up the spell. That's why I love candle magic more than any other type of magic. So you can use the you can use fire in a cauldron and manifest. So you could do, you know, a money spell and then set everything on fire that you have in there, and then just release it into the universe. It doesn't have to be only used for banishing when you're burning. You can also do incense and all that stuff, but that's kind of the, yeah, we know that one. So let's move on to number 2. So you can do water spells. Don't ever leave water in your cauldron like overnight, like to the next day. You can make moon water in it. If you're going to make moon water in your cauldron, the reason that you would want to do that is because it represents that divine goddess energy. Mine even has the symbol on it. That's why I chose this one instead of the one with the pentagram or the triqueta. I wanted the goddess symbol on here because that's what this is. That's why it's good to make moon water in here. But the moon water I drink, I don't make in here. I make that in a separate thing because I love to drink it. But you can make it in here, and you should make it in a cauldron. But as soon as you get it, you come in, dump the moon water into a mason jar, label it, and then dry that cauldron out. Use a towel, and then go behind the towel and use paper towels, because they can kind of get in there a little bit better than the towel, and really dry it. But if you've got a little coat of oil already on there, it's, you know, kind of protecting it. And they're, you know, they're gonna get a little dingy as, I mean, the more you use them. It's a sign of a well-used cauldron, for it to have some, you know, some stains and stuff on it, but you don't want it to be all rust colored. So be careful with water, but you can do water spells in them. So there's a coin spell that I want to share with you. What you can do is on the night of the full moon, take it out, fill it with water, put a really shiny coin, whatever color you want, whatever kind of coin. Just put a really shiny one in the middle at the bottom, and then fill the rest up with water, and then have it under the full moon, cast a circle and everything, and then sit in the middle of your circle with your cauldron and stare down into it and picture that coin. Visualize it multiplying until the entire cauldron is filled with coins. And then while you're doing that, visualize the wealth coming to you. Visualize what you're going to do with the money, what you're going to buy, how it's going to affect your life, just like we do with any other money spell. And then you're going to keep that coin. Okay? So you can do that. And make moon water in it. Those are 2 ways for number 2 that I put for water spells. Okay. Don't forget to dry it out, okay? Also, when you're doing the spell for the coin, with the coin, you can drink some of that water. Just scoop up, put both hands in here, you know, and get a little water, and then drink that. So you want to always have a clean cauldron before you do any kind of spell where you're going to be consuming anything, but drink a little bit of the water. And then you're really bringing that energy in you when you do that. So you want to make sure you drink a little bit of it when you're doing that spell. Number 3, place a petition and the correspondences that go with it in the cauldron, and then bury it covered. So you put the lid in there. So put a petition, write it on a piece of paper, fold it up 3 times towards you. Put it in here, put the herbs that go with it, or either rub it down in an oil that goes along with it. Say I wanted to do, I'm going to save that one. Say I wanted to do a, like a money spell. I might use a road opener oil and rub it down with that, and then put the petition and then some herbs that go along with that. Then close it up, dig a hole in my backyard, put it inside, cover it with earth, and then leave it there for 3 days, and then go get it. And then you can bury, if you want, what I would do is bury the contents and then bring the cauldron inside. But what it's doing is it's giving birth to your spell. It's like manifestation on crack, because it's like something being born inside of the cauldron. So next, you can use it to just make a fire. If you're outside and you're doing something magical and you don't need the cauldron for anything else, and you want to have a little fire going, just build a little fire in it. It can take it. Number 5, you can do a curse or a hex, okay? What you would do is take your charcoal, you would have it going. You would need a baneful herb mix, like a doom powder, or just a mix of a banishing powder, whatever your spell is specifically, you know, whatever you're trying to do to this person. But if you're really trying to fuck them up, use a doom powder or a cursing powder, and then you would put a pinch on there and then say out loud, I curse blank or blank, I curse you to whatever, and then say ashes to ashes, dust to dust, and do that 9 times. 9 is a magical number in witchcraft. As you know, we have lots of those, but 9 is one that you would use for this. And take your time with it. And don't forget, whenever you're doing a baneful working, have a white candle going, always. Even if it's this kind of, if you're doing it in a cauldron, still have a white candle burning. Okay, you can make a scrying tool out of this just by simply making sure it's super clean, filling it with water, and then maybe just light a candle, sit in a dark room, and look into it and see what you see. Divination, fun. And if you want to put an amethyst crystal at the bottom, that will kind of help out a little bit, bringing those energies in. You can make tea in your cauldron, make sure it's super clean. I would have like a separate one just for tea if I wanted to do that. And you can do it by setting it on top of a little candle, tea light candle. These 6-hour tea lights are perfect for the cauldrons because the little flame is touching it. You can also do this in the oven. You could make tea in the oven. If you're outside, dig a little hole, make a fire, and then set it on top. But you would do that with a bigger cauldron. This one's small, but it's perfect size for me. All right. You can burn intentions on paper with bay leaves. I'm sorry, not on paper or on bay leaves. You can do it both ways. You can write directly on the bay leaf, or you can write what you want on paper and send that up to the universe. It kind of goes along with number 1, but I wanted to mention the bay leaves, which everybody knows about bay leaf wishes. But don't forget about those. You can make offerings to Cauldron, because of course she is synonymous with the cauldron. So if she is a goddess that you work with, leave her offerings in a nice clean cauldron. I would have one specifically for that. I would get the little bitty ones that are like the 3-inch cauldrons and leave her offerings in that. If you were going to leave wine or you were going to leave a drink, do that in a chalice, but like a food offering or an herb or even flowers, you could do it that way. Next, I'm on number 10, cook. You can cook in a cauldron. Cook, 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 kitchen witches. Okay, number 11, you can make black salt. I know I said don't put salt in your cauldron, but if you're gonna make black salt in it, that's an exception. Just look up a recipe and make black salt. It's really easy. It's basically this and sea salt. So it's really easy to make. Next, you can bury items in the ground inside of the cauldron to cleanse them. So say I wanted to cleanse these 2 crystals before I do my legal work with them. I'd put them in there, not with the charcoal, of course, but I'd put them in there, put the lid on, and bury it outside for 3 days. Come back, take them out, and then they're ready to be consecrated. You can do that with anything that'll fit in your cauldron that you want to cleanse. Next is number 13. That was 12. Number 13 is protection. So for protection work, what you can do, and I really think that this is cool. I haven't seen anybody else do this. So here's a picture. This is actually a picture of me and a deceased friend of mine. But you would take a picture, cut it down small enough to where it would fit in, but take the picture of the person face up. I'm not putting this face up because it's me, but sorry. But inside, so it would be inside of there. And then put some shells on top, because shells are they symbolize protection. Maybe 3 on top of the picture. And then protection herb blend. I actually make that and sell it. If you want to buy some, just let me know. It's really cheap and really good. It's expensive to make, but I just make enough that I'm gonna need, and then whatever's left, I sell it off and pay for about half of what it costs for me to make it, so it works out good. But then take that with your herbs, your picture, and your shells, put the lid on it, and bury it outside for 3 days to protect that person or yourself, or you could even do a protection petition and do it that way. So those are all of your do's, 13 do's, and here are some don'ts. Like I said, don't use salt unless you're making black salt. And after you finish making black salt, cleanse the cauldron out. Salt, it kind of erodes the cast iron a little bit. Use sand, soil, or brick dust. Don't leave it with water sitting in it for more than a few hours. I would say the longest you would let it sit with water would be when you're making moon water, because that's from like maybe 11 p.m. to like 5:30 a.m. That's enough. I'd say 6 hours, 7 at the most, and then stop, get it dry. And don't forget to season it when you get it. Don't skip that step. do not skip that step. If you don't season your cauldron when you get it, it's not gonna last you that long, and it's going to look pretty messed up pretty quick, because if you use it a lot, what's gonna happen to it is gonna get messed up. So season it twice a year. And that's all I have. Oh, I was gonna say this oil here, when I'm doing the protection working, I would use this oil or my own home, probably my homemade protection oil, but just so you kind of get the idea. You can, it doesn't have to be olive oil that you use every time you're gonna rub this down in oil. You can rub it down with any oil that corresponds with your work. I even have some High John here, because that can go with anything. But that's all I have. I hope you learned at least one new way to use the cauldron, or a tip to take care of it, because I think some of these ways, I've never heard anybody say them before, so hopefully you learned something. If not, I'm sorry, but I'll see you guys later. Blessed be.